Welcome back to another video in this video series, and in this particular video we're going to go through the specific course settings in LifterLMS. I'm going to explain all of those to you, and I'm going to show you kind of how to structure a course, and I'll even share with you how I structure my courses and how I get those started. So let's jump in here. So I'm going to log into the back end of the site. Here I am in the back end, and all of your courses and the lessons that go with it and everything related to that are going to be in this courses tab right here. So here, if I click, will show a list of courses. I can click here to add a course. You can categorize your course if you want, if you're going to have lots of categories and lots of courses and you want to organize them. I don't actually use this personally. Difficulties, this is if you wanted to mark a course as advanced or beginner or something like that. I really don't use that either, because I want someone to look at a course that I have and not think, oh, that says hard, I can't go through it, because I have a goal of making all of my courses in such a way that anyone can go through them. You can put tags on your courses. You can have some different course tracks. Here's where we're going to find all our lessons, but you're going to see that we're able to find them also in the specific courses. You can create quizzes that you can tie to lessons or courses, and here's where you would organize the different quiz questions. And also you can have reviews on your particular courses. I like to do this, let people review, and you can also send an automated email after they complete a course or reach a certain point in the course to ask them to give you a review. So I'll go ahead here and click on courses. Now, if you installed the default course, this is what you would see right here. And if you don't, you're not going to actually see any courses. So I want to show you the anatomy of a course right now. Now, in a later video, we're going to go over actually creating a course from scratch. Right now, I'm just going to show you the anatomy of a course so that you understand all the settings and all the different options, so you can be aware of that when you're planning out your course. And this is a very important video to understand all the capabilities of your new course website. So let's go ahead and click on into this right here. So now this is, I haven't modified or changed anything, and the first thing you see is this big Yoast SEO, and I'm not ready to talk about Yoast SEO. And if you scroll down a little bit, then you can start seeing the LifterLMS stuff. But this is a little irritating to see right here at the top. Now, you might not be aware of this. There's this little button here on the top right. When you click on it, it says Screen Options. You can enable or disable items that you want to see in this list here. And so I do want to have this Yoast SEO there, but I just really don't want it at the top. So I can click on this arrow right here and collapse it. And if I try to drag it down, now it's going to be underneath course options. So when I scroll down, there it is. I really don't want it there either. I'd pretty much like this to be kind of at the bottom. So I'm just going to keep dragging it down here, because it's not something that you need to see at the top. Custom fields, you probably don't need to see that. Discussion. And here I'm going to take it down to where it is, where the comments are right there. So that's good. I'll leave my Yoast SEO there. But we're not going to go over the Yoast stuff in this video, but I will touch on it at the end of the course. So the first thing your course is going to have is a title, obviously, and this is a pretty long title. I prefer a shorter title than this, but that's okay. And then we get this course option box, and we have these tabs here. So let's go through these tabs so you know everything that is there. So the first thing we have is this bit of information you could put here in this box and here in this box. And this is the information that's going to actually show on the course. And there's a distinction. Right here is what you would show to someone that is actually enrolled as a student in your course. And then right here's what you would show to someone that is not enrolled. Now, I really like to use this because you could put some information here about the course and trying to sell the course and the benefits of the course and all of that. But if someone's already enrolled, there's no reason to show them that information anymore. You might as well show them something different. And what I usually put up here is maybe updates to the course or congratulating them on taking the course, something like like that. So you can have different information in each spot right there. And that's all we're going to get in this description tab. And this is actually a really nice feature. I use it on my website. And if you are enrolled in any of my courses, you'll know that I'm going to show some different information there. Let me actually show you where this is on the front end of the site. So here I am here. Here is the featured image. I'll tell you how to put that in there. Here's our title, and then here is that bit of information. And you can do obviously more to style it. So if you look right here, it's showing this right here. You know, we could obviously put more information, put things in bold, put headlines and titles and all that if you wanted. So it's just showing some real basic information right there. But this is what it's going to look like. It's going to appear in this area right underneath the title. Okay, so let's go back here. Now let's take a look at some of these options here. Oh, before I move forward, I might as well talk about that featured image. This is actually very, very important to pay attention to. So with WordPress, it's more of a WordPress thing. If you have pages or posts or any bit of content, you add a featured image to that particular post. So this course is like a post, and when I scroll down on the right here, we're going to see that there's this option right here for assigning a featured image. Now, the way WordPress works is there's a lot of different ways this featured image can be used, and it can be used in various locations. And that's exactly what LifterLMS does. It uses this featured image in various places. So if I go right here, you can see here's an area that it uses that featured image. Also in the course grid, and so when I click on courses right here, we're going to see it right there. And this is another place where it uses that featured image. Now, one of the important things for me, I like everything to look symmetrical, and that means even. So if I'm going to have, say, 2 or 3 courses, I want each course it to look perfectly lined up right here. Now, what happens is sometimes people, what they do is they'll take a featured image and it will have a certain image dimensions, and then on the, say, the next course, the image that they assign as the featured image doesn't have identical dimensions. So then these 2 courses would be listed out and the size of them would be different, and it wouldn't all kind of line up symmetrically and be even. And I personally want everything to be symmetrical. So my tip to you is to use the same image dimensions for every single image that you're going to assign as a featured image to your courses or your lessons. You want to use the same image dimensions. We can look and see what the dimensions are here. So when I click on it and then I go to Media Library, here it is. And then here it's listing out the dimensions. Now, I personally don't know where they got that dimension size. Maybe they use that on all of their featured images on their website or something, but that's pretty weird dimensions there. So I typically tend to go with the 16:9 dimensions. So essentially what that means is the width of my images I put at 1280 and the height I put at 720 pixels. And so that is what I like to stick to for all the media on my website is 1280 by 720, which would probably produce a perfect rectangle like this as well. It doesn't actually matter so much the dimensions that you choose as long as each of these images are the same size and dimensions so that everything looks symmetrical and everything lines up perfectly. That's another thing that is kind of a pet peeve of mine as well. That's why I don't like to have super long course titles, because when I'm here and say I have 3 courses, I would want them all to take up the same amount of lines. So this course title gets pushed to 2 lines. So if I had a second and third course, I wouldn't want a course title that took up 3 lines or 1 line. I want everything to be perfectly lined up and even. It's just the way that I like to do things. You can obviously do things the way that you want to do things, but it's just the way that I personally like to do things. So that is the featured image. It's pretty important to understand that in image dimensions so that you make sure everything lines up and looks perfect together. So that is the featured image, and just remember that featured image gets used in multiple places in Lifter LMS. You see it's visible when you're looking at the course index page and also when you're looking at the specific course. So now let's go through some of these options here, and we'll just blast through all the various options you have for your courses right now. But keep in mind there are some specific features that are lesson specific, like drip content and stuff like that, and I'll get to that on my video on the lessons, specifically on the lessons. So here's our general tab right here. This is just some information you can put in here to give to the people that are interested in taking your courses. So for instance, course length, I actually don't like using this setting because I mean, how the heck do you really estimate the length of a course? I mean, it depends on the kind of courses you're creating, but for me, it just really doesn't make any sense. What I like to do is put information on the length of each video in the lesson description, and that gives people an idea of how much time it's going to take to go through the course. But I really don't find much use for this course length, but everyone is making a different type of course and you might find some use of it. This doesn't really serve any purpose other than to show on the front end when someone is maybe going to enroll in your course. And then here's the course difficulty. I don't actually use this either, and so here are the 3 default options that are in there. But like I said, you can click on difficulties and add more options or make them more specific or brand them out if you want. So right here it has these. I don't use this and I don't even show it on the front end. You can have a featured video. So when we're right here and we click on, well, actually right here as well. So if you have a featured video right here, and this can just be a link to Wistia, Vimeo, or YouTube, and it will also allow it to work with any of the different WordPress embed providers. So what that means is, for instance, with YouTube, they make it so WordPress makes it so all you have to do is paste a YouTube link into a video and it does everything for you. So if it is a video coming from a place like that where it's WordPress embed supports it, you can just paste the link to the video in right here. Now here's what you can do with that featured video. If you have this right here where it says display featured video and course title, you have this on. When you're right here, it's going to show the video instead of this thumbnail image. So if you had, say, 3 courses, people can click on that and get the introduction to that particular course. And here's the other place where it's going to show. Instead of this featured image right here, it's going to put that featured video in right there. So you can choose whether you want to have a featured video. And I actually do suggest having a video on your course index page so people know about the course and they can hear exactly from you what to expect inside the course. And you can also do the same thing with audio, but with featured audio, it's not going to show on that course index page. It's just going to show right here if you wanted it to be some kind of an audio file. Personally, to me, that doesn't make a ton of sense. So here are some restriction options that we can put. So right here is the message that someone sees when they try to, so say I'm on the course here and I want to take this lesson, but I'm not enrolled, and it shows me this message. Well, you can customize that message right here. And I really like that there's the option to customize that message. You can put your little twist on it, and that is something that I do as well. You can restrict the enrollment period by dates. So I can turn this on right here, and I can have a start date and a close date on enrolling in the course if I wanted. I personally do not use that. Right here's an option to restrict when the time frame is that they can actually take this particular course. So this is for enrolling, and this is actually going through the content. So you can actually make the entire course expire at a certain period of time. Right here is prerequisites. You could make it so someone has to complete something before they can even enroll in this course. So if you have, say, 3 courses and you want them to go, you want your students to go in order on your courses, this would be the option for you to enable a prerequisite. And then right here, you can limit the capacity of students in this course by turning on this option here. I'll be honest, I don't use any of these 4 options right here. My courses are always open. Anyone can take them whenever, but I understand that there are many situations where a lot of these options here might make sense to you. Next, we have this reviews tab right here, and this is where you can just enable or disable the ability to leave reviews. And when you turn that on, now people will be able to leave reviews on your courses. And then right here's an option to display the reviews. Obviously, if you're going to let people leave them, you might want to show them. So you can go ahead and enable that, and you can list the number of reviews you want people to be able to see. And then right here, you want to enable this probably, because I've actually had this happen where the same person leaves more than one review. So you'll probably want to enable that as well. So you might want to enable all of these. Maybe a good number of reviews is maybe 10 reviews or whatever. Now, I will say that this is okay, this setting here, and all these settings are fine. However, the way that they display the reviews is almost like a comment on a blog. So it doesn't really display the review in the most prettiest way. So it's up to you if you want to display them this way or come up with a more elegant way to show those reviews when people leave them. But right now it's going to look pretty basic. So we've gone over the course options and the featured image option so far. So let's scroll down here and let's look at our course access plans. And this is how you're going to charge for the course. Now, there's multiple things you can do here, and you can have more than one course access plan. And there are scenarios when you'd want to do this. This would maybe be if you have a course that you want to have a one-time payment price and maybe a 3-payment price. And so the 3-payment plan makes it easier for someone to pay for the entire course because you're going to break it up to maybe, so say the one-time payment for your course is $300, but you want to break it up into a payment plan of 3 payments of maybe $125 each. So they have to pay more to break it up into multiple payments, but you are still giving them an option to do that. So you can have multiple access plans, and you can also have a free access plan. Let me click on this little arrow to reveal the options here. So this is what you see for a free plan. You can name it free. And so what I would do as well is name this free or something along those lines. You don't have to have a SKU if you didn't want to. There isn't a ton of reason for that, but I do believe it would show on maybe a credit card statement or something like that, depending on how someone paid. And this is the text to enroll. Let me show you this actually on the front end, so it might make more sense. So here's that title. Here's a description. Here's what the button says. You can say enroll in this course or whatever. So let's go back here. So here's the title, which showed on the top. Here's the text for the button right there. You can choose this box to kind of highlight this payment plan if you're going to have multiple ones, but if you're not, there's no reason to click on this box right here. And so if you're marking it free, this is what you'd want to check right here, no payment required. And then you would list what they're actually getting access to. Is it lifetime access, or does it expire in 6 months or something along those lines? You would choose that right there. So you can have someone's access expire. And this is who the plan is available. So what this is a really cool option. I'm going to have to show you this when I'm building out a course later in this video series, but this is something I use a lot on my website. Actually, let me see if I can show you really quick how I use that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on courses. And here's my list of courses. So let me go into this one right here, WordPress Optimization Essentials. But let me point out, you see how all my featured images are all the same dimensions? All my titles take up one line. That's that having it be symmetrical, and that's kind of important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just click on this one, WordPress Maintenance Essentials. And here I am in there, and you can see how I have these 2 payment options. Right here is if someone wants to buy the course, they can go ahead and buy it right here. And then I have a membership price, and check this out. If someone's a member, they can buy this course for free because they have access to the membership. And this is how I manage giving someone that's part of the membership access to any number of courses, and all they have to do is go here and order that course, and it's free, but it's only member pricing. So if someone's not a member, now this is a paid membership that I have that LifterLMS facilitates, but if they're not a member, they're going to have to pay $99, or they can go here and they can join or get information on the master's course, and they'll realize what is all included with it. it. And here's that little bit of information I told you where I include the length of the video in the description of my particular lessons. So let's get back into this course right here. So that is who the plan is available to anyone or members only. So that is how that's done. So if you wanted to have more than one access plan, you would go here. You would go right here and click Add Access Plan, and then it's going to add a new one. So we can just call this anything. I'm lacking creativity today. I just named it Best Deal. And right here for the enroll text, we can say, take this course, and we could choose to highlight it. I don't actually like the highlight feature myself, but you can play around with it. Now on this one, I'm not going to make it free, so I wouldn't check on this no payment required. Right here, I can specify the price. So let's make this course $50. And then right here, you can choose the frequency of the payment. So right now it's set to a one-time payment, but I can click on every, and then right here's options. So if I wanted to make that every year, or I can make it every month, or every week, or every day, whatever makes sense. So typically you might have every year or maybe every month. So I could choose month right there. And then you need to specify how long this every month is going to be for, so it doesn't go off into infinity. So it has options from 1 month all the way down to 24 months right there. So that is the options that you have when you're choosing the price you're going to charge for your course. Now, we have that same access expiration and plan availability, and here you can actually enable a trial. So if you wanted to have a trial price on your course, you could do that. So maybe if it was a monthly thing, you could charge them maybe $1 for the first 10 days or something like that, and then they would go through and have to pay the full amount. And you can also put a course on sale if you wanted like this. It might have a badge that says it's on sale or something like that. I would have to check, but right here you can put your sale price and all of that. And here you can put a little bit of description for your pricing plan. So when I'm right here, this is where your description would go in here. The reason this says free is because this is actually what we have as the price is free. So for this plan we're creating, it would show $99. So let me actually clean up some of these options. I'm going to reduce the frequency to a one-time payment, lifetime access. Let's go ahead and put this on sale for $40, and we will make the sale date like this, just to put some info in like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Access Plans, and it's going to refresh this. And let's scroll down and see if it saved our access plan. And there it is. And you can order these. I think it would be the order that it would show on the front end. Let's just take a quick look. So I'm going to do a refresh on the page. And here you see we've got the free one, which obviously this makes no sense to have it be free and then to charge. But right here you can see it does have a sale tag on it. And it tells you the end date of a sale like that. And so I think if I go down here, I can go like this and change the stacking order. Click Save Access Plans. Make sure you always click on that Save Access Plans or you're going to lose your work. So if I do a refresh, we can see they're flipped. And let's just see what happens when I click on Take This Course. I actually don't know. All right, yes, it takes us right here to check out, and it's popping in my information and all of that right there, and giving me the option for my payment information. So that's good. Let's go back to my course index page. So that is setting up these pricing plans, and there's more options. I might not have hit every different scenario, but I think you get the point of how you can have multiple pricing plans, the reason you'd want to do it, and I'm sure there is a lot more information on access plans on the LifterLMS website. So right here's where we actually build out our course outline, and this is going to be what you see right here. Let me just click into it. This is our course outline right here. So this is like a section title. This is the title of your lesson. You have a spot to put some description information there. If you have a lesson marked as free, it can show this little free badge. And then this is another section right here and another section right here, and it just keeps going on from section to section until you reach the end. Here's that little bit right here. It says write a review, by the way. Okay, so let's show how that's done. And this is actually one of the reasons I like LifterLMS. I find that it's, in my opinion, the easiest learning management system for building out the outline and the lessons of your course, because all you have to do is click on this little add button right here, and you can add a new section, add a new lesson, or add an existing lesson just like that, and it doesn't take you someplace else. So if I want to add a new section, I would just click on that and then click in here and give this section a title. There it is, my new section, and then I can click on create section like this, and it's going to by default add that section to the very bottom. So if I scroll down, here it is, my new section, and there it is. So then, let me add a new lesson. So I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to click on add a new lesson, and I'm going to give it a title, and if I wanted a description, and then I'm going to choose the section that this lesson goes to. So I'm going to put some info here. Okay, so I put my lesson title, I put a short description here, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the section I want it to go into, my new section right there. I click on create lesson. Now give it a sec. Now I actually created a lesson right now. There's obviously no content in it, but I'm going to see a lesson now in there. If I clicked on lessons, it says my new lesson, and I really like that. So let me scroll down to the bottom, and you can see it's been added. Here it is, my new section and my new lesson, and I've got that little note right there. And now if I wanted to change any of this here or here, I could just click on this little settings icon right there. So if I wanted to change my title of the lesson, I can just click on this right here, and I can go here and change that information. It's so simple. And this is something I really like as well. Now I can move my cursor over a lesson, and I can literally drag and drop it someplace else. So if I wanted it someplace else, I can just drag and drop it there, and now it's going to be in the section I just dropped it into, and I can just move it back if I wanted to. And you could do the same thing for an entire section. So if I click this, I can move this anywhere I want. Now what's nice is you can do this and it will immediately reflect here on the lesson area. So if I move the section to the top here, it's going to be on the top here. And this really makes organizing your course so simple. And this is really the thing that I love about Lifter LMS, is how simple it makes it. And so the way I start my courses is I think through logical sections, and I create my sections, and then I start creating these lessons that of information that I think that will be good as individual lessons. And then I start organizing it all this way, and I might find that I think these lessons shouldn't be in that same section. I should create a new section, and I can easily do it and then reorganize my lessons and move it around in a way that makes sense. And so that is why this course outline is so powerful. And this is the way I make my courses. I first come in here and I build out my course outline, and then when it comes time to actually create the content, I know what the heck to create. I've already logically thought through how I'm going to take this entire course and slice it up into bite-sized chunks, and then I go and create the content. And I suggest that's how you do it too, because it's just what makes sense. So anyways, that's how I make my courses from start to finish. I start with it's this concept I actually talk about in some of my courses, where I try to do everything where I begin with the end in mind. It's almost like working backwards. In our minds, we think, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is create my lessons, when the first thing you should do is actually just map out the course and then start working backwards. The last thing you should be doing is creating your lessons, not the first thing. So that is a very powerful feature. And then all you have to do is go up here and click on update, and then the page will refresh, and I can go to the front end of the site here and then do a quick refresh, and we will see it at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and click on refresh. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and there you see my new section, and then we have right there my new lesson. And you can even see the little note that I put there of the lesson length. And you see how easy that is to do. Now, once you've gone ahead and created your course outline, so then what I do is for each lesson, I go ahead and I click on Edit Content like this. Now, right here are a few icons that give you some information about how you've configured the lesson. So if you notice the lesson I created, these are all grayed out. And whether they're grayed out or highlighted depends on how we've configured the particular lesson. So when I scroll all the way down to the bottom, right here, you see they're all grayed out. Now let me show you that just real quick, but the next video is going to be specifically on these lessons. So I'm going to click on Edit Content, and now it's going to take me straight into that lesson. So you notice we were in courses before, and now we're in lessons. So right here is the lesson content, and we have the same thing when I scroll down here. For lessons, we have lesson settings. So this particular lesson, I think, had some drip settings right here, and so that's why the drip icon was highlighted, and I think there might have been a prerequisite or a quiz. Yeah, there's actually a quiz that's assigned to this particular lesson before someone can move forward, and that's why it was highlighted. Let me go back like this so that I can show you. See, right here it had the drip. That's why it's highlighted. And right here for lesson content, this was to let you know that there's actually content in that particular lesson. So this gives you an idea of kind of what's going to be inside the lessons. So, but right now we're not going over lessons. We're going to go over lessons in the next video. So let me scroll down and show you what's left here. Custom fields, you're probably not going to really use this that much, so you can go ahead and collapse it. Discussions, these should be unchecked. This is to allow someone to comment on your course. You just go ahead and leave those unchecked, and you can go ahead and collapse it. Right here is the assigned author to this. This is just a WordPress thing. You can collapse it. And right here's really cool, and I like this. It gives you the option to kind of manage the enrollments in this particular course right here, and I like this a lot. So right here you can search for students, and you can search for them based on status. You can see who's enrolled, you can see how they're doing on the course, and you can see I've actually had some people, while I've been recording this course, actually enroll in it. And I bet this is people watching the video and then going in there and just seeing the domain name show the demo and testing it out for themselves, which is fine. But you can see enrollment date, and you can even click in here to see, go directly to the users or the students' records, and you can see exactly where they are in your course. This is like a mini snapshot of what you're going to find in the reporting section up here. What's also nice is you can manually enroll a student. So even though the course costs money, if you wanted to let someone in for free, you can go ahead and enroll them right here very easily, which is also very nice. And that's going to be it for what we can do here on a particular course. I think you grasp that this is where you're going to set up some initial course restrictions. You're going to set up your pricing and how you want to price out your course. You're going to assign a featured image, and you're going to build a course outline that makes sense. Now, in the next video, I'm going to go over lessons, and I'll probably touch on quizzes, and in a later video I'm going to talk about memberships and how we can kind of bundle memberships together. And then I'll hit engagements, and that's where we can automate the sending of emails to your students based upon what they're doing and where they are in your course.